Hey guys, Camp 15 back at it with another video for you guys, and I'm back with another More Than a Married Couple episode review for you guys. Talking episode 7 and 8 episode. My God. Holy crap. Talking about episode 8 and 4. Talking about those episodes for More Than a Married Couple because the last two episodes last week's episode was really good. This week's episode was fine for the most part. But you know, I've honestly enjoyed last week's episode more than this week's episode because this week's episode nothing really happened outside of Shiori, and this whole thing here, and then the little thing at the start between Jirou and Akari. But last week was really good from the standpoint. It just furthered this plot line or this storyline Akari's going on. Like, okay, does she want Jirou or does she want Minami? And based on like what happened last week, you can see that no, she wants Jirou that bad, especially after what she thought happened. But this week, I guess it kind of goes in one ear, but I don't know. I think it's because she gets more flustered about Jirou and everything. But regardless, last week was kind of your typical, I guess, festival, fireworks festival episode, just with the fact that the only difference is Jirou and Akari spent it at their place together. But you get the whole thing there where Jirou has to help out. Akari's friends actually call over Jirou and his friend, and it's this whole thing about helping Shiori out with like these garbage bags. And at first it looks like Shiori and Jirou are going to be paired together to help clean up, but no, Shiori's like, can I actually come with you, Akari's friend? And Akari's friend actually sees like, oh, I think she likes Jirou. And that's when they ask Akari, like, hey, what do you think of Yakuin? Do you like him or do you not like him like that? And obviously we see how, again, Akari is kind of unsure about this. I feel like Akari's friends are at the point where they both know, like, okay, we know you like Minami, but we can see that you're actually getting fairly close to Jirou. And we need you to come to a decision you need to make of who do you want? Who are you truly in love with? Are you truly in love with Jirou? Are you truly in love with Minami? And that's kind of the thing that's Akari's kind of fighting in between herself. And really, that's the thing that Akari and Jirou both are fighting. Like, are they gonna like? Do they love their made up married couple? Or do they love their crushes? Eventually we'll get to the point where eventually they'll accept, like, no, we like each other. So it's going to be interesting to see the route that they go and the development that it takes them to. But we see how Akari is kind of ensuring everything, but her friends say, we'll have your back no matter what. Anyways, we found out that her friends actually set her up with it, where they're bringing one of Minami's friends, and Minami's friends is actually going to be bringing Minami, and they're going to be giving them alone time and everything. Your typical high school thing where you go to like some sort of festival or something, and your friends actually do a good thing and hook you up with either the guy or the girl to come and, hey, we'll give you some alone time so you can be alone together. And she's looking forward to it. You get this whole thing where Jirou's helping her with her yukata, and he's like, I'd like this way, if you were to tie your bow like this on this. And she's like, no, it's not the way that he would want it. And he's like, well, I'm just throwing something out there, I think you look cute in it. So it gets a little bit more, I guess you could say, I wouldn't say sexual tension, but you get more of the whole relationship love angle between the two right there. But it's the thing. She goes to the festival, but we find out that Minami is not actually going because he actually has work. And as she's kind of walking all by herself, she ends up actually seeing Minami at the festival, And he's walking next to Shiori, and it kind of breaks her heart because in a way it's like, oh, he lied. Um, well, yeah, to her, like, he lied. I thought he thought he was supposed to be at work, but he's at the festival with some girl. So it ends up getting her emotional. We find out he was actually going to work, but he had to drop by the festival with Shiori and everything, and they had a good time together and everything. So yeah, because of it, you get this nice moment where obviously she calls Jirou and she's just crying, and I'm like, yes, we're gonna get the moment where Jiro's gonna run to her and be at her side at the festival and be there to comfort her. And he's like, listen, I don't know where, let me know where you're at. And as he walks out the door, she's right at the door and she's just crying out in tears. Now, even going to this week, Jirou doesn't know why she was crying like that. But we know why she's crying like that. She feels like she probably in a way, it's kind of like a rejection scene for her because to her, from her eye vantage point, it seems like Me is into another girl, not her. And again, you get this nice romantic moment between the two, Jirou and Akari watching the fireworks together, and you get this thing where they're like literally, holding each other, or he's holding her from behind, and he's just whispering in her ear like her first name and everything. And I'm just like, oh, the sexual tension. I'm like, at this point, I'm just like, the tension between these two, man, can they just kiss again? Can they just kiss? Frick it, screw it, just go all the way. But whatever. It leads into this week's episode, where again Jiro's questioning, like, I wonder why she was crying like that. I never did ask her why she did cry, so I don't know why Jirou never asked her that. Why actually, like, Akari, why were you crying? And it's just like, you see, if I was in this situation, I would have already asked the girl, like, why did you actually cry? Why did you come back here? Did something happen? You had to cry for a reason. And I'm still waiting for this one moment where if she tries to deflect away from it, I wish that Jirou would just have the balls and be like, no, you're not trying to run away from this situation. Tell me what the hell's going on. Which we kind of have that moment in this week where she kind of kids with him, where she's like, because they look at the rankings, they're like 13th or something, and they make them mention about a dating couple and everything. Just like, well, that couple's the exception, and the reason why they're so high is because they're actually dating, so it makes sense to why they're a thing. And she's like, well, and Akari just throws out the boat. She's like, well, do you think we should start going out like that? Sure, should we start dating? And he's like, wait, what? And then obviously she's like, just kidding. I kind of wish that a Jirou would kind of put his foot down and just be like, no, what did you just freaking tell me? Like, are you being like, no, are you being serious to me? Are you just effing with me? And in a real case scenario, if this was it was real life, you could probably tell from somebody's face if they're fucking around with you or they're mean it for reals and everything. And she does look back at him like why, I thought he would ask me about that, more about that, or something like that. That whole funny scene to start the episode was great. Again, but what am I saying? They already act like a married couple, or they already act like a dating couple anyways, because this girl straight up went in the bathroom while he's freaking changing, or while he's taking a bath, just so she can freaking come out and get a spider. She's draped all over. I mean, it's like, oh my goodness. Which, it was absolutely funny because she looked and she sees a spider and she's like, kill it, kill it, kill it. I'm just like, it reminds me of the many times my sister, she's got arachnophobia and she's always screaming at the top of her lungs, kill the spider, kill the spider. I can't go back in my room unless the spider's dead. And it's just like, because, you have the whole thing where it's like, Akari needs Jirou to go wherever she needs to go because she's that afraid of the spider. So yeah, but other than that, nothing else really happened between Akari and Jirou. This week was kind of focused on Shiori and her friend. We actually, I guess in a way, kind of get confirmation that Akari, or Shiori's friend, the red-haired girl, she has a crush on Shiori. She has some feelings for him because she even questions. She's like, what does she see? What is Shiori seeing that Jirou dude or something like that, and everything. So yeah, she's definitely she's definitely in love with Shiori. Nothing wrong with that. I do like a little girl on girl action. Yeah, I'm trying to remember anything else that happened this episode. Oh, the number one thing is Shiori is also thinking at this point. She can't stop thinking about the accidental kiss that her and Jirou had, and she actually being talks about. She talks about this with Minami, and Minami kind of just gives her some advice, saying, "Well, this guy probably just doesn't know how to take it as well. You just, you know, that pretty much is he's pretty much telling Shiori like you just have to have a little bit more confidence and more courage in yourself to just ask that person like, hey, was this kiss like a thing that you mean that you like me back, or was it just an accident? And then to Minami in their discussion, he does make it where he does slip up by saying, you in reference to Shiori. So I think Minami knows that Shiori's talking about herself instead of this whole, well, I have a friend who's actually in this whole thing situation, but yeah, that's kind of the thing. Jirou actually runs into her and they kind of have a misunderstanding at first, but then they clear up the confusion and everything, and it's kind of this thing, they're walking home with a grocery bag together, and she's obviously wondering like, I kind of would, what if we were a married couple? So, yeah, that's the whole thing there. It's an interesting thing. Again, I still prefer Akari over Shiori. Shiori to me is a cute girl. I like Shiori. I like Akari better personally because we see more, and I don't know, I just like these type of tsundere-ish like girls. But again, also at the start of this week's episode, you had this thing where Jirou was playing his video games, and it was kind of the whole thing of this whole foreshadowing element, because it's like his game was like, well, you got to choose one and everything, which is a reference to him choosing either Akari or Shiori when the decision comes, because at the end of the day, Jirou's going to have to choose somebody to please. He's going to have to choose Akari, which obviously with the way the series is going to go, it's going to definitely be Akari instead of his childhood friend. Again, this whole series is just based on the characters, Jirou and Akari, realizing that they actually do love each other. Like, they love each other more than just a fake married couple. They actually do like each other more than their crushes. So yeah, right now, Jirou's kind of in a rock and a hard place, and he needs to just be a little bit more bold and just be more demanding to Akari in terms of getting to the bottom point of like, does Akari actually like him? Everything. But that's the thing. That's what happens when you have these romance shows. You have a main character who doesn't really do the common everyday thing that I would do, which if I were in that situation and a girl was playing around with me, but deep down I had a feeling she may actually like me like that, well, then I'd just be like, screw it, let's break the ice. Do you like me like that? Because you keep making these references like you want to date, you want to do something more than just, I guess, platonic friends. Not saying that friends with benefits aren't a thing, but I'm just saying, like, because it's like, I'm telling you I have this crush with this girl, and are you pulling my leg? Because, something like that. But anyways, if you guys like the video, leave a like, put in the comment section your thoughts on this week and last week's episode of More Than a Married Couple. Again, I missed last week's episode review because I was actually sick. I came down with COVID actually, and it put me out the entire week, so I was pretty much catching up with everything. But anyways, guys, if you guys like the video, leave a like, put in the comment section your thoughts, and I'm gonna get over. Till then, guys, catch you guys in the next video, and see you guys next week for More Than a Married Couple. Till then, guys, peace.